Hello YouTube, how you doing? How you been? Where you going? Where you at? Where you been? Where you at? Hello YouTube. Hello YouTube. Hey, hey, hey. Ooh. It is November 11th, Veterans Day. I think this is like the first time ever that Veterans Day is on a Saturday. I remember always being off of school and just having off of work and stuff like that. But this time it was on Saturday. So yeah, November 11th, that fast. 2023. Just the other day I was thinking, I haven't talked about no movies lately because I haven't really seen anything worth talking about. But today I saw some stuff on tubi. So the first movie I wanted to talk about, I wasn't really going to talk about this movie because it was a good movie, but I feel like it was a little redundant. But anyway, it's called Still Here, and basically Charles Whitfield, Malik Whitfield, he was in Temptations. He played Otis. He's been doing a lot of movies, BET movies he's done, Tubi really doing it. You just really doing it. Christopher Stokes and Marcus Houston, wonderful job. I mean, really good movies. This particular movie was really good because you really think, he killed her, because it's like he was gonna divorce her. He was trifling. Like, he's always playing the part of a cheating husband. Always, in like almost every movie. Like when he played Otis, he was a cheater. When he was in We Belong Together with the girl from Basketball Wives, that was good. He was a professor, she was a student. He didn't like really seek to sleep with her, but he did. I don't think, was he with someone? I gotta watch it over. But that was a good one too. But in the movie Still Here, she fakes her death, and in the end she comes back and she's like, you need to send the money to my account or I'm gonna kill you right here and then, and there's not gonna be no suspects because they think I'm dead anyway. So he didn't have no choice but to send the money her way. But the way he was very trifling and Still Here, like very trifling, like, because it's like, even if you fighting and she bumps her head, why would you not try to check and see if she's okay, right? And then like the detectives, they was on him. They was like, oh, you was having an affair, you was doing this, you was doing the most, like, so it looked like he really like killed her. And then he thought he was seeing her, he thought he was seeing a ghost, but come to find out it really was her and she wasn't dead. So that was good. And then the movie I really wanted to talk about is What Kind of Mother Are You? So this movie really struck to me because I know too many people that have had bad situations with social workers / caseworkers. And unfortunately, the system is set up to break up families. It is not set up to keep families. And it was an interesting story because they were white. So it's interesting to know that they do it to white people too. We all know that the foster care system, most kids in foster care, a lot of them are not in there because they've had bad parents. A lot of the times you have a social worker that's evil. They come to the house and then they say, oh, boom, to foster care you go. So a lot of it is bad decisions on the social worker. And this is why, you got to be so careful. So in the movie, What Kind of Mother Are You? Basically the girl, her father died. He shot himself, and the mother remarries and she has a baby. And so naturally, as a teenager, she felt left out. She gets a no good boyfriend, and the boyfriend is stealing and doing things that's not so good, and she's caught in the midst. The first time they go to the mall and he steals a shirt and puts it in his jacket, and the alarm goes off and they get caught by security. The second time they plan on having, like, I guess a romantic getaway, and she's running from home, and oops, they don't have any money, right? So they need money for for food, and so he breaks into the store, and of course they get caught again, and so they bring her to home, and she slaps her mother. So the cop is like, okay, she has a record, she's done this before, let her spend the night in jail, which I would agree with, because at this point she needs some type of discipline. Like, she's, hanging out with this boy. It's hard to determine if it's like really his fault, because at the end of the day she chooses to hang out with him. And I wanted to say to all my kids out there, and I was talking to my son, because when I watch stuff, or when he watches stuff, we talk about it, and just in general I always talk to him. And I could say so from experience, you're gonna always have people that are trifling and that want to break the law. Your job, if you're a good person, is to stop them. I have friends that were fucked up people, horrible people, and they used to steal, and they would still way on that side, and I would not be around them. I would not be around them. Right on up until I was 21. I'll never forget, I had a coworker. She was a bully. Like, we was only cool for about a few months, and I cut her off. She would write subliminals about me on Facebook. She was jealous of me. She tried to scam me. She bragged about stealing heels. We was going to the club one night, and I complimented her shoes, and she was like, "Thank you, I stole it." Like, what? So, and even before that, I knew she was a thief, because we worked close to Times Square, and she tried to steal safety pins. And I'm like, "Ho, is you dumb? Like, do you not see a camera? Do you not see where we at? We Times Square. We two black women. You can't be that dumb. Like, they gonna arrest both of us." I said, "Put them safety pins back right now." Like, I wasn't playing with her. So I'm telling you, you young people and teens out there, don't let nobody punk you. They want to steal right around you. You tell them to put it back. Stand up for what's right, because at the end of the day, you gonna get in trouble. And I'm gonna tell y'all a scenario. Real life. This happened in real life. So when I was in high school, there was a girl who used to steal, and right after we graduated, I want to say it had to be like a few months after, one of my friends was still friends with her, and I was confused as to why. I was like, you see how much of a smooch she is? Like, she would use my friend for money. So my friend just had a baby too, and she didn't know she was pregnant, and she gave birth in September. So we all in college, we all, doing our own thing. And she told me the whole narrative, how they went to the mall, and what this girl did, she took the tags off the items and put it in my friend's bag and walked out the store. She was calling her like, "Where you at?" So when she gets to the thingy, the ringer, it rung off. The cops came and everything. So the cops was nice. They was like, okay, her dad and her stepmom had to come and pay for the items. And this girl that's supposed to be her friend left her right in the store. It's like, you set that up. And then I even asked her, I said, before y'all went to the store, before y'all got in the mall, how was her behavior on the bus? She was like, she was quiet. I'm like, yeah, because she plotted that. She's jealous of her because she got two parents and she got money, and she was a user. Like, my friend was the type of person, she would buy you something if you wanted it. That's the type of friend she was. So this girl that was a thief and just a fucked up person overall, that's what I wanted to tell my teens out there and young adults. A person who steals, 9 times out of 10, they're not a good person. So you might as well cut them off, because they'll end up cutting you off just because you're not down with the program. So, and fast forward to about before COVID, I heard from a mutual friend, because she stayed friends with her. They lived in the same apartment complex, Left Rack. So I was like, oh, you heard from so-and-so? And she was like, oh, her and her mother, they live in PA and the mother is a bishop. But they, prior to all of that, they were stealing together. I'm like, that's really sad, because it shows that like the mother groomed her into that, you know. But the fact that they doing that, never getting arrested, like that's real, like wow. But karma's a bitch, and somebody will steal from them, I'm pretty sure. But I said all that to say this: I don't care if it's your boyfriend, your friend, whatever. If somebody's stealing, that's something that they do. Tell them to stop. If they with you, tell them to respect you enough to not do it. And if you hang out with a thief and you know that they steal, you just as bad as they are, because they could steal from you. I had a dude that I previously dated, and he bragged to me about he used to shoplift from Macy's, the underwear or whatever. And he never stole from me, but he used to borrow from me, and he would pay me back and stuff. But you know, people like that shoplift and stuff, they character, I'm telling you, is fucked up. Like, they are liars. Most people who steal, they lie. It kind of go hand in hand. He used to lie all the time. I mean, he was a horrible liar. So it's like, you got to look out for that. Like, there's no such thing as a person who steals, but they're a good person. No such thing. A person who steals, they are a scammer 9 times out of 10, or they just don't care about people. They use people. I'm telling you. So, more of the story. So, she's hanging out with this boy or whatever, and she hits her mom. And so she lets her spend the night. And the cop lied to the mom and said, oh, you can get her in the morning. The morning time come and they say, oh, it's too late. She like, what you mean it's too late? I was told I was going to get my daughter. So then they transfer her to juvie. And then after juvie, after 2 weeks, it turns into 80 days. They sent her to some center where they was raping girls, abusing girls, all type of craziness was happening. And eventually she did get her daughter back, but it was just a good movie to show that the system is fucked up and they don't care about your kids. So to all my parents out there, if you have a kid that's a little rough around the edges, sending them to jail overnight or whatever is not the answer. Try to find another alternative. Luckily, I don't have that problem. But if I did, I would let my son go with his grandparents. Like, obviously, I'm not going to let nobody hit me in my own house. That's not going down. But sending them to a facility, prison, whatever, the social workers are like vampires. They are bloodsuckers. They don't care about you or your child. I remember with an ex of mine, he was going through some stuff with his daughter, and I gave him advice and he listened, and it was crazy what he was going through. But I knew, people had went through, I knew people who went through a lot with social workers. So I had the knowledge, and I was able to tell him, like, yo, you got to get her mother. Don't listen to them social workers. Like, stay focused. And he did listen, and he had the victory in the end. I was praying for him. It was a lot. But moral of the story, don't give up on your kid. You cannot trust these social workers. These social workers are in place to separate you and your family. So like, they're put in place to separate you and your family. They don't care about you and your family. Their goal is to separate the family. Yep, I said it. And this goes with the psychological evaluators too, with the shrinks. A lot of them, they don't care about you. A lot of them, their whole goal is to separate the family. Now, you do have some that are exceptional. Like I told y'all, I think I told y'all in a previous video, I took my son to therapy, but it turned out it was okay. The person that we sat down with, she was really good. Like, she was good in her questioning. Like, I'm good with my questions, but she was really good. and he expressed some things that he would have never told me. So it was cool. But the lady who did the consultation, is something wrong with her, because now, mind you, my son is a normal kid and he has a life, right? He always had a life from the time he was young. So he had a summer job this past summer, and he did the normal thing. He would be with his father family for about a week or two, and then he would be with me. So one time he was, most of the time he was with me, but he went on a cruise with them, and then he was with them for another week, and I let them know this, right? So one day they canceled on us last minute, right? So then the person calls and they like, oh, let's reschedule, da da da. I said something like he wasn't available or something like that. I think he was going to Jersey that weekend. The bitch gonna say, oh, he's never available. I said, don't say that. I said, don't say that. I said, I sat down with you. I said, this is why people don't come to therapy, because you don't fucking listen. I said, didn't I tell you that me and my son's father, we're not together? So common sense, he's gonna go see his father. What's your problem? And that made me very upset when she said that, because she was the one who canceled the appointment. She was the one that we sat down with. We sat down with her for 2 hours, and I told her my whole situation. And this is why people don't like talking, because people like that bitch don't listen, right? And she got me very upset to the point that I made a complaint. So and I'm happy I made my complaint, because when I called, the secretary was like, oh, she didn't even have break, because what happened was that same person didn't communicate with her, and they canceled because the shrink didn't show up. I said, yeah, I was like, I'm not coming back. Like, if my son, because my son has a social worker in his school that he talks to. I only brought him there because it was summertime and I wanted him to tell me something. But if he has another mental break or whatever, I'm taking him to Mount Sinai. Like, we go to the Institute of Family Health. They have several locations, but it's predominantly, in a nice area, downtown Brooklyn, and they have one in Manhattan. And I got tired of Advantage Care or whatever. But this particular place, I found the billboard on the train. And I called them. I was like, oh, okay, this is mental health for teens or whatever. And the lady was unprofessional. Like, you don't say that to a parent. Oh, he's never available. I sat down and I told you our situation. His father do not live with us. We're not together, right? So common sense, right? My son is not going to be with me all the time. He's with me Monday through Friday because he live with me. He go to school. But as far as weekends, he's not with me all the time. Just because I'm a single mother, that don't mean I don't have help. That doesn't mean that my son don't have a life. And I explained that in the 2 hours. And then she gonna talk about he's never available. I said, you're the one who canceled. How dare you say that? So yes, I did make a complaint, and I found out that the manager knows about it or what's going on. I said, yeah, she's very unprofessional to say that, to come out and say that. But it just shows you that she doesn't really care about people. She's in the wrong job. Like, you don't say that to a parent that's trying. I'm bringing my son to the shit. Like, obviously, like, so what are you talking about? Like, what are you talking about? Like, that just irked me just thinking about it. But yeah, a lot of people, a lot of parents get flack, and it's these damn social workers, these damn counselors. So I just wanted to let all my parents know, like, always speak up for your child and do research. I didn't even look up this place. This place was in Ocean Hill on by Eastern Parkway, and I'm like, I should have known. It's in the hood. You can't trust nothing in the hood. But my son's doctor that I took him to, he was like, if you ever want to see a shrink or whatever, he was like, he could hook it up at Mount Sinai. And everybody know Mount Sinai is top notch. So yes, can't go to the hood for nothing. Not even to see a shrink. The shrink that we saw, she was good. The Indian lady, she was she was good. But the person who did the consultation, she just ticked me off. But yeah, in the movie, What Kind of Mother Are You? The husband, he was not supportive, and that's another thing I want to talk to my single mothers. Like, be careful who you marry. And for me, if I was in that situation, I would have filed for divorce, because if you don't love my child, that means you don't love me. Now, towards the end, he came around, but he was so messed up and not supporting her. And then he went as far as to say, oh, I'm scared for when she come back home. I want a home. I don't want a battlefield. And it's like, what? That's her daughter. Like, what are you saying? And the daughter felt like that. She felt like, oh, ever since my mother got married, she got, you know, she just forgot about me. And a lot of kids feel like that. You know, I never got married, but my son did express to me that he felt like I was choosing, which I wasn't. But I mean, kids are gonna feel like that because they're kids. But I always made a balance, and I always made sure I included my son in things. When he wanted to come with us, I let him come with us, you know, stuff like that. But and the time I had with my son was with my son. You know, nobody ever came before that. You know, I never was the type of mother, have plans with my son, cancel it for no nigga. No, I always put my son first. But yeah, but the movie, What Kind of Mother Are You? Excellent. I was so happy she got her daughter back. Also, they showed how the disconnect between her and her daughter came from her and her mother. Her mother was very negative. Even when it came to the legal help, her mother was discouraging her, saying, oh, they not gonna do nothing, this and that. And she's like, you never gave me no good advice my whole life. And I was so proud of her, because I went through a similar thing. That's another time, another story time. But my father was in the hospital, and I didn't know like what hospital he was in, so I called 311. And I remember my mother was like, you're wasting your time. And I said, okay. And of course I proved her wrong. I called 311 to find out what hospital he was in. But it's like when the movie, What Kind of Mother Are You? When her mother was telling her, oh, you're just wasting your time and they're not going to help you. It's like, that's your granddaughter. Like, that's your granddaughter. She don't have money for a lawyer, so obviously the best thing to do is go to a public defender. And she did the right thing. And then the guy encouraged her, like, to go to the news, to go to the politicians. Like, she went in, and it just shows, you know, any mother, they're gonna go hard for their child. You know, she did what she had to do to get her daughter back, because she was not gonna get her daughter back. That social worker, she was lying on her child, saying that she tried to kill herself, and she's telling her to sign a paper. Listen, kids, don't sign shit. Even adults, don't be trying. Anytime somebody try to make you sign something, don't sign it. It's like, don't sign it. Don't sign it until you have like a third party with you, straight up. Like, that movie was just so good. So if you have Tubi, watch What Kind of Mother Are You? So good. And those are my thoughts.